a comienzos del siglo XX se hicieron muchos estudios sobre los grupos de trabajo. En los años 50 estos estudios llevaron el desarrollo de la teoría de los sistemas asociativos. Esta teoría apareció gracias a la investigación del Tavistock Institute en las minas de carbón de Durante en los Reino Unido. En los años 70 hubo investigación sobre la aplicación práctica de los equipos autogestionados. Cubins estudió cómo funcionan estos equipos en la práctica. También en 2020 en el podcast Success Story per G. Weber, presidente y CEO de Volvo, habló sobre innovación y entrega y compartió relaciones con la liderazgo y equipos.
I started a new plant, because we needed more capacity that had no assembly line. It had assembly, but it didn't have an assembly line, so it was not moving. The blue-collar workers didn't have to move with the assembly line. They could stay and they could do their mandate, which was at least 20 minutes for a team of 9 to 10. And that made it more interesting for them. It was more demanding. They put together part of a car and the engine and the transmission and the whole system. And there were about three to four teams who could do the whole car. And that was new. And I had interest from people from outside Sweden at the time. Our biggest market was already in the United States. And when we opened the plant, Henry Ford asked if he could come and visit, and he did. And the head of the Auto Workers Union, he also came and wanted to see it. So I had those two at the same time, and also the Prime Minister of Sweden, who almost came in the shadow behind these rather two giants.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting start. People in the company, and I think the blue-collar workers were extremely satisfied after a couple of months when they knew the rhythm and how to manage it, and there was so much attention to what we did that became a worldwide story. And the other thing was that quality improved, because you didn't have to intervene all the time to improve quality. So all the other plants in the system of Volvo, whether it was engine plant, transmission plant, rear axles, front axles, whatever it was, you could benefit from the system that we had at the Kalmar plant. So all the factories were gradually changed to this type of system.
What does success mean for you?
Success means many different things, but the most important thing is that the people I serve and the people I work with feel that they get something, even if it is against them. The wind blows the other direction. That they have the faith to believe and to stand by and to work and do good things, irrespective of how it fares, and that there is a good intention behind everything they are asked to do or hoping to do. So I think that's the most important. and integrity and independence, I think, are very valuable, and freedom from bias. Because if you have those three, you will do well.
En los años 80, la implementación de los equipos autogestionados fue más madura y organizada. Los investigaciones encontraron beneficios como reducción de costos, mayor productividad, menor rotación de empleados. También y manas dieron aportes importantes. Los equipos autogestionados fueron problemas en grandes empresas. Más explicó que los líderes extensos todavía tienen un papel importante, pero diferente el liderazgo tradicional. Su función principal es ayudar el equipo autogestionados, promoviendo la auto-observación, la auto-evaluación y el auto-flujo. En los años 90, muchas empresas comenzaron a usar equipos autogestionados o autogestionados según Tata Prasad 2004. Entre el 68 y el 70 de las empresas fortuna utilizando este modelo. Richard Hackman hizo su doctrina sobre este tema y publicó mucha literatura importante. En 1905 dijo que una persona autogestionada debe tener una actividad con cualidades personales útiles y el estilo correcto del liderazgo para beneficiar al equipo. Autoinvestigación como Massey y Izumi 1993 ofrecen énfasis prácticas y desarrolló varios modelos de trabajo. En 1999, Chancellor Nicholas presentó un estudio llamado Talking Self-Managed Teams to Mexico, que mostró una aplicación práctica de equipos autogestionados en México. Después de muchos años de investigación, a partir de 2000 hubo una disminución en los estudios sobre este tema. Sin embargo, Tata Prasad 2004 mostró que la estructura organización influencia en la efectividad de los equipos autogestionados. Por ejemplo, el nivel de centralización y formalización puede efectivar el éxito del equipo. En 2020 realizan una investigación extensa sobre este tema que presenta en Futuro video.
Welcome to the HR Dialogues, a show where we talk about HR and the future of work. I'm your host, Dr. Dieter Veldsman, and today we'll be talking about self-managed and leaderless teams. And we'll specifically be diving into what does accountability look like.
Listening is critical, so I listen to people all the time. So that's the best advice I think I had.
I think it's definitely good advice for people to take to heart. And Bex, what drew you to HR as a career, first as a practitioner and now as a scholar?
Oh wow, okay, I've got to go back in time. I think, to be honest, my dad first said to me, "You like people, why don't you work in HR?" And obviously I found out pretty quickly that's not necessarily the right reason to work in HR. But I think I'm fascinated by people. And I have this really passionate belief that work should make people's lives better.
Yeah.
And I think people experts in the organization have such a critical role to play in that. And I think in my role as a researcher and an educator, I feel as though we don't always get the opportunity to do that, or maybe as individuals we don't know how to. And so everything I do is all to help HR practitioners in particular to help improve people's working lives.
Organizations are trying to do a lot more with less. But to get us started, maybe you can give some context to when we talk about self-managed or leaderless teams, what is it that we're actually talking about?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I guess they come in all sorts of different flavors, right? So I do a lot of research with self-managing organizations where the whole organization is self-managed. So you do have leaders, there's always leaders. So the idea of leaderless teams, I guess we can get into a deep conversation about what is a leader, right? But the principle is that the team themselves have a lot of autonomy to decide, in particular, how they're going to achieve their tasks, but also to drive their goals and their priorities as a team. So the autonomy particularly sits with ways of working, without a kind of manager to say, do this, do this, do this. But in the organizations which are really go full into self-management, there's also kind of a lot of emphasis on, here's our collective goals as an organization, here's what we're trying to achieve and our purpose. How do you think you as a team can contribute to that? So they really give over a lot of autonomy to teams.
Towards goals. But why are organizations trying to go this route? What would be some of the benefits that they are trying to unlock by adopting this new way of work?
Yeah, so I think what we see in our research is a couple of different drivers. One of them is a bit more of a probably productivity focused actually, is as you say, we have smart people, they know what they're doing. Why do they need to be slowed down by a hierarchy of decision making? Why do we need to go up to a manager and back down again? So that productivity driver we see is quite strong. But I think there's also often a kind of philosophy behind it as well. So many organizations just think this is the way that work should be organized.
I want to ask the question, Bex, if an organization goes that route, because obviously there will be stumbling blocks.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Actually, I think this is where HR comes in. And what's really cool about the research I'm doing right now is HR just comes back again and again as how important it is. Because you have to onboard people really thoroughly into this way of working. And that doesn't just mean sitting in a training room and meeting lots of people. It means testing out and experimenting ways of working in a very safe environment at the beginning of the organization before you're expected to kind of get on with the job. It also means kind of development activities focused around things like giving honest feedback, avoiding and dealing with conflict, and also being able to speak up productively about issues. So all of these things, like investing in that training and development. And then I think another aspect that we see a lot is information availability. So that means both passively being really transparent about as much as possible. So really having information about decisions in the organization, helping people to make better decisions by making sure they can see things, but also then very active open communication flows. So having structures in place so that people talk to each other very regularly about things.
Gracias.